For the first time in more than 40 years, Spokane Public Schools is redrawing our enrollment boundaries. The district is building 3 new middle schools and replacing 3 others as we move to a 6th through 8th grade model. Boundary adjustments are needed to support this change in grade configurations, relieve overcrowding, and accommodate student growth throughout the district.
As movement has happened, as we are looking at growing enrollment, being one of the hottest housing markets in the country, not all students fit into the school feeder patterns that they currently are in.
To make room for that growth at our elementary schools, as well as our high schools, besides building the 3 new middle schools and changing boundaries, we're trying to accomplish all of those at once so that we have a set of boundaries that will stand the test of time.
To accomplish this goal, SPS formed a boundary study committee in 2019, made up of parents, community members, staff, and administrators representing all regions of the district. The group's first task was to develop school boundary guidelines to steer the work. These are communication and process, diversity, legacy, neighborhoods, school quality, and transportation.
So the committee has used those guidelines, as well as some other considerations, such as where are the areas in Spokane that we anticipate growth? Where is there land for growth?
Those are the places that we're trying to project out and make capacity available for when that happens.
A boundary adjustment committee has met every other week for more than a year to develop proposed changes.
It's never a simple, let's shift this boundary here. When you change one thing, it has a cascading effect. Our guiding principles are all important, but sometimes they're in conflict. It's important to be able to walk to school if you can, or go to a close neighborhood school, but it's also important to look at what you're doing to the economic and racial diversity across the city and the schools.
One of the reasons that we haven't changed boundaries in 40 years is it's really complex, and there's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of sentiment. It affects people's living situations and their schooling situations for their kids.
I hope that we're able to look at this, and I think the committee has, in a long-term view to come up with something sustainable that helps schools not be overcrowded and really accommodate neighborhood schools as much as possible.
Well, the current proposal that the committee has is based on research. The research says that students do much better when they stay together as they move on to middle school, and middle school students as they move on to high school. It's not always possible, but we're trying to keep cohorts together.
We have access to a whole lot of information that we're using to look at the effects of what happens when we draw a line this way or that way. I feel like the committee has done a really good job of advocating for neighborhoods and also keeping the kind of larger district perspective in place.
The committee held 4 public hearings this spring to get feedback on the proposed changes. After more adjusting, they'll present their plan for school board approval in June. This is a year before boundary adjustments take effect for northside neighborhoods and 2 years ahead of those on the south side. This will provide time for families to understand the changes and for the new middle schools to build community.
You know, we have this opportunity. Spokane is very supportive of the education of its young people. That alone is a real motivation to make sure these boundaries are done well so that the voters' investment will be well worthwhile.